goal here is to like talk about developing website. But before getting into the detail, since in the early stage you have like much more attention and the later part you might be sleeping, so I will introduce myself in a little bit visual way. You definitely got a little bit introduction about me, but if I'm not doing what I am doing most of the time, organizing sessions, talking about JavaScript and all this stuff. And other than this, before actually COVID time, I used to jump from the sky because there was nothing better than this. And then also was doing some running because this is a very good way to stay away from home. And then if I'm not doing all this stuff, I used to like to have a 10,000 volt shock. And this is really shocking. So if you need like more shock in your life, let's have some 10,000 volt shock. Definitely I like to share whatever the limited knowledge I have. And this was all good before 2020. And once this 2020 started, things take a little bit turn. So I get inside my closet, pretty much similar setup, and spend pretty much day and night over there and focused on the mobile app. And it's grew a little bit. We are close to 1 million users for this. And 2020 also put some focus on my YouTube channel. And feel free to check out those. And this is pretty much what I do. So today would be another exciting day, and some of you might be excited to see what we have today right now. So the part we will have today is looking into the heart of web development. Without this heart, you cannot move, you cannot do anything. And the same thing is true for a website. If you go to Facebook but can't like anybody, can't hit a comment, or cannot add somebody as a friend, if you go to Instagram, or if you go to a Tinder, you cannot swipe, and then it becomes a useless website and nobody would be going there. So the reason the internet and the website is much more popular is because of just one thing, and that one thing is JavaScript. Without JavaScript, if you turn off JavaScript, there is a settings in a browser that you can turn off JavaScript. But if you do that, internet is not usable at all. You cannot go to the Zoom and it cannot start. So the internet cannot work without JavaScript. And that's the exciting part that we'll be exploring. And not only that, we'll be looking into a real world case where you have a shopping cart and now you want to calculate the cost, that okay, if I add one or more of this product, how much it's going to change the price, how much would be the tax, and if I reduce it, if I remove it, and all this stuff. So that would be exciting part. And the interesting part is that JavaScript already you have everything set up to play with JavaScript. You don't need anything else. So if you have this browser or any browser and you right click on it, you click on the inspect, usually it will open on the right side, but you can change it by using this guy. So usually it goes something like this, but if you click on this, then it can go back, it can go to the left side, it could go completely a separate way as well. So what I will do is to just usually keep it this way so that you have more space. And then if you go to this console, and that's where you have JavaScript. Not only JavaScript, you have a calculator, you have all this computation. So it's not a simple, it can work as a simple calculator like this. It gives you a 4. If you go to a 58 multiplied by 89, doesn't matter. It's a simple calculator. Not only that, this is a cool JavaScript that you can use, and you can go to any website. Say for example, and then do some interesting stuff, or see what they're doing and do some events. So we will look into a little bit more. So for example, we go to any website, say a programminghero.com, and then you can able to see pretty much every part of it. So for example, if you go here, this is the course, right? And here this is called dev tool, and you can say it's like, okay, my own courses, something like this, and then you enter, it changes. There's an easier way you can change too. But by using this, you can access, like if it is a Facebook, it's an Facebook will give you a warning here, hey, don't mess up with it, something like this. And some other website may or may not give you some warning, but you can do stuff. Not only that, if you click on this, you want to do something like if add one or reduce one and all this stuff. But before getting into that detail, you need to understand at least 5 fundamental concepts of programming. And the first one is called variable. So this variable is in JavaScript is like you think it's just like a bucket or a cup, right? Something like this, where you hold something. It could have like orange juice, it could have water, it could have milk, anything. And it could change. So for example, you have this amount of water, now you drink something, it changes. Or even you can add different drink if this space is available, something like this. To declare a variable in JavaScript, you need to think like 2 different ways. Very simple ways to think about is that you are creating a bucket and you will need just 4 things. Number 1, you will need to use something called let. We'll explain why this is called let. And then you need to give it a name, because you might have like this cup, you could have like a coffee cup, juice cup, tea cup, maybe your drinks, special drinks cup. If you go to like somewhere else in a restaurant, there could be some other kind of cup, or it's kind of like a container where you hold something. And here you can look into this, ignore the other stuff, just look into this. It needs like a let, and then you give it some name. So for example, this is my partner, because you guys might have like an wonderful yesterday, and you might enjoyed yesterday very well. So it's like a let partner, and you put like on the equal sign, and then you write something there. So what we did, we declared let, we declared the name, we put an equal sign. And the right side, we need to set like what it will contain. It could contain like a lot of different things. And there are a few fundamental things. The first one is some number. Second one is some text. For example, your name is some text, like it could be like an Himesh Rashamia or something like that. But it's a name. It has a lot of letters or characters. Another thing is could be like, is this guy rich? Is guy is like a good person? Is this person is like a intelligent person? Is a smart person? Or is he or she is an entrepreneur? This answer to those questions could be like yes or no. So that's another type of values. And there could be like even higher values. Say for example, Team India. It's not one person. There is like a multiple people in it, right? Team India. So a value, whatever you are storing, it could be one thing. Even in this cup, right? You can have like an water. That's good things. You could have like a lot of small tomatoes, or a small other kind of like grapes, right? It could have like a lot of things inside this container. So you could have like one or multiple values or multiple things, and you write on that side. So if you declare another one, say let age, which is a number, equals to, say your age is like 71, something like this. And then usually you write a semicolon. That's usually recommended for the beginners to use it. So this is how you declare a variable, and then you can use it. You can use it like multiple different ways. So for example, you can use the values. Say I want to use the age and then multiply it by 2. Doesn't matter, you'll get the values. You can age that, okay, I want to be younger, I don't want to be older. So you can divide it by 2. Doesn't matter, it will make you much more younger. And if you want to add some values, say, or new values, say age equals to 25. So when you first declare something, that means you are buying the cup. Once you have the cup, after that, you can either set the new values, you can change the values, use something using those values, or you can completely change the values based on this. Like it could be like 25. And in some cases, the your value is pretty much fixed. For example, let dad, like whoever is a person's dad, there is a certainty that this person name would be remain same for the rest of the life. In that case, we usually don't declare by let, we declare by const. Const is a short form of like constant, which means that is once ever it's declared, it won't change at all. That's why it's called const. But let const is like exactly the same thing. Only one difference is that if you have some value that this person that is like a image or something like this, and now you cannot set the values again to like maybe this is Karthik or something like this, it will give you some error. Hey, it's a constant variable, so you cannot reset it again. That's it. But if you do like let, like we did here, it will not complain. That's pretty much it. So if we recap about the variable is something to store some values, then we will use it, set it, update it, and do a lot of crazy things. But if the value of the variable, you want to change it in the future, you should start with let. That means you are letting it to change. And if you think it doesn't change or there is no reason to reset the values, then you start with like constant. Think about it, usual life. If you are going to the college canteen, like sometimes you are very hungry and you want to eat something. And in those moments, you try to check how much money you have in your pocket. And a lot of times, like, okay, if I have a lot of money, for example, if I have like more than 100 rupees, then I will go for a veg thali or non-veg thali, whatever you want to eat. If I have less money, then I might eat just a samosa and a cup of water. That means you make decision based on some situation, condition. And the same thing happens like if I send the message to this person and that person responds, I will send maybe a romantic message or maybe like a potential boyfriend or girlfriend as that person could be. That means you look for some sign and then you measure if this person quickly responding or this person doesn't respond, like, okay, ignores your message for 6 months and says, hey, how are you? And then silent again. That means you are measuring the signal or something that whether this is a potential person or not. If it is a potential life partner, you go forward, you make some race and you send some flower or do some crazy things. If not, then you don't do anything like that. So and that thing is true for a lot of cases. So for example, you have a variable here, let age equals to some values, 60. And then you can write some condition here. So for example, if age, it's usually written inside a bracket, if age greater than say like 18, something like this. And after that, you put like a 2-second bracket. Inside, you can write anything. So for example, if you want to see something as an output, you usually write console.log. And because it tells like a console. So console log means you are adding a 1 extra line here. And it's kind of allow this person to do anything or at least vote, right? So, and since this person's age is 16, and that's why this person, you see output as like allow this person to vote. But if for some reason you set the value, say set value is like 12 or 10, whatever the values, and if you use the keyboard upper arrow, you can reach the previous thing you wrote and you go one step above. And then if you enter, now you don't see anything. So that means the code inside this parenthesis, the second bracket, executes if this value is true. If you set the age as 10, it is not greater than 18 because 10 is not bigger than 18. That means this condition is not true. And that's why it doesn't allow this person to vote, this person to date or go himself or herself for like an outside for or is staying with friends, something like a family rules. But if this person age is 60, that means it's a very mature person. That person can do anything he or she wants. So this is the condition that we wanted to look into. There are few other things that you will encounter, and one is called like an array, where you could have like a multiple things. For example, say you have like an array, so you will declare like a let maybe friends age, something like this, and that would be a lot of friends age. So that's why you'd be thinking to write is like a first friend is like a 14, and then second friend is like 15, third friend is like 16, later was like 13, 12, something like this. But you need to do one extra things. You need to tell JavaScript that, hey, these two is a separate value. and that's why you put a comma in between. And these two is two separate values, two separate number, put a comma in between. These two is separate values, so put a comma in between and put a comma in between. So to declare an array, you need to think about, you need to put all the values, the multiple values inside a third bracket or box bracket. And then you need to tell, okay, which are, if there is a multiple values, if you don't put comma between, JavaScript will yell at you that, hey, it looks like two separate values, but you didn't separated them. So you did something wrong. And that's why it will complain, and you need to put the values. And it not only can have numbers as multiple values, it could be like some text as well. So for example, we declare a variable like a name. In that case, is a name would be in the single quote, two single quote, or two double quote. And that's what this is called a string type variable. And this, if we declare as like a number, this is called number type of variable, those kind of thing. And name is always inside single quote or double quote. So this one thing. And another thing is called loop. Loop is, say, for example, I want to do something, I can do immediately for 10 times. So for example, if you are eating, you're taking a kind of a bite of your food, you're putting. Usually you go in a row. That means you don't put any break. You're just eating, something like this. And if you are a kind of crazy movie fan, you watch movies, back to back, 3-4 movies. That means you're doing something back to back for a long time. And that's what is called like a loop. And I will encourage you to explore Google or search YouTube for loop for JavaScript, so that you would get familiar with that. The last thing that I would like to share here about the fundamental things. There's the 5 fundamental things. The variable, we looked into that. The condition, that the if we wrote, that's the condition. And then this is like an array. This is number 4, number 3, and the number 4 is for loop, and number 5, that the thumbs up one, is a function. So think about function is nothing but a task. And a lot of times, like in the morning, your mom asks you, hey, brush your teeth. She doesn't tell you the all detail, like, hey, you need to take a brush, you need to put some paste, you need to do some work, and then you rinse, and then you maybe like wipe out your face or do some other work. But she just tells you to just brush teeth, and you understand that what are the different things you need to do to finish the whole task. That means when you were young, maybe at the age of 2, 3, or 4, she taught you that the whole thing is called brush your teeth. And you know that these are 4 or 5 different steps you need to perform. Even your elder brother or elder sister tells you, hey, turn off the lights or turn on the fan. That means he or she is telling you to turn on the fan, but doesn't tell you, hey, don't sit here, you're lazy, go stand up, walk towards the switch, go there. And if it is turned off, change it, and then come back or do whatever you want to do. That means you need to do some small steps to finish the task, but they don't give you the all detail. Maybe when you are younger, at the age of 4, at that time, they teach you that this is what is called turn off the fan, or let's go for eating, or let's go for a walk outside. So they define the task, and the task has a name, and you can use it multiple times. And that thing is same thing is here. So, and to declare a task is kind of like a task, and it is called a function. So you will start with a function. There is like a 2 potential way you can declare a function in JavaScript, or 2 broader way. And that is, one is called arrow function. We're not getting there, but we're looking into a normal function. The function, for example, say maybe it would be like a print something or display something. And that's what you want to see. And this is the function. So the function will always start with this keyword function. If it is the regular function, it will have a name, something like this. If you can't have a name, you cannot tell people to do it, like brush your teeth. It has to have a name. Turn off the lights, go for a walk. It has to have a name. Otherwise, you cannot define which task you need to do. And then once this is done, then you need to do this parenthesis. And this parenthesis could have something, but we'll explain this little later. and then it will have like two bracket, and inside this two bracket you will do the work. So for example, here if you just want to see something, you will write console log, and maybe if you want to see some number, for example 45 45 45, something like this, and if you enter it, it doesn't do anything. If you declare another variable and you can do some work, 25, function is staying there. For example, the task is there, you don't do anything, you change the values to 75, it doesn't do anything. But to call this function, you need to do usually two things, but right now here is like a print something, the name of the function, and if you just call it, it will show you what is the function, but it will not call, and it will not do the work. To make it working, you have to type the name and then put the bracket. So if you start like an opening first bracket and closing first bracket, if you do this, in that moment you are telling JavaScript, hey, you need to do this work, you need to brush the teeth, or you do this function, and you see this is printed output. Not only that, you can do some other work. Say you can declare another variable, maybe plan, what is your plan for this weekend, maybe propose someone, because that might be your plan, and you do some other work, and after that you call this function again, print something, and it does this works. So whenever you need to call it, it does do the work. So we got the fundamental part of JavaScript, a little bit part of it. Now we will open our Visual Studio Code to do some work with some realistic application. So what I will do, I will go to maybe I will go to a simple. I will open up a folder. So click on this, open a folder, and then inside practice, I should have a something called shopping cart. Okay, so now we'll see that how we can use JavaScript to do some work. But first, look into what we have here. So here, if I go to so this is what I was using, and now if I right click on it, I have this extension that I showed you guys last time, and open with live server, and it will open as a live server. And what we have here, we have like a few things, like a shopping cart of things, but it doesn't do anything. It's kind of like dead without JavaScript. If you click on it, it doesn't do anything. Even if you type like a 45, it doesn't do anything. It just stays there. It's a hard coded. This is like a kind of like a dead body without JavaScript. We don't have any JavaScript, so nothing works. Like it doesn't work. It doesn't change the numbers. It doesn't change the quantities, and you cannot give it to a client because they will not be able to purchase anything by using this. So what we want to see that if we have some text anywhere here, we can actually change the text. For example, here I might be adding a text. So here in my shopping cart, I have this section and all this stuff. Maybe I wrote here, say here H2, my shopping cart, something like this. And if you save it, it goes like a my shopping cart. So since my shopping cart is some text, you can actually access it by using JavaScript. You can change it and do some dynamic thing based on some other work. And to add JavaScript, you need to add something in your code. Usually you have the body tag, and as the last tag, you will add a script tag. And also you can have like an external JavaScript file that you can use like an CSS file. And in that also works. For example, you can write here and you can do like a console .log and then hello from HTML, something like this. You save this guy, you go to the browser, and since you do the console log, there will be something in your console like hello from HTML. And if you hello from maybe other side, if you remember that song, she was yelling, and that was like hello from other side or other world, something like that. So you say like to console log, and you go to the console, you come back to the console, and you can see it. That's pretty simple. And not only this way, you can write a JavaScript file here. So for example, here usually you write some app.js. That means .js is like short form of like a JavaScript. And this is the file you'd be doing. So like a console log I am in a separate file, something like this. You save this guy, but it doesn't come to here. I am from separate file because you need to create a connection between these two. And to create this connection, you need to come back to the index. And here, outside of this script tag, you have to type like script.src. That means you need to mention what would be the source of the script, and it could be your app.js. And if you do this, you come to the website. Now I am in a separate file. So either you can write all your code here. That's one options. Another, you can write all your code inside this file. Either one is all right. So for simplicity, we will write the code here for now and then do some cool stuff. So first thing we would be doing here is to, like, since we have this text, say like a my shopping cart, we want to access it. And to access something, we will need a specific ID. And here in the tag, we can set an ID like we did in the first time. And it could be like my title is the title of your website. And here it's fine. It doesn't do anything to your website. It stays the way it is. Nothing is happened. What you can do actually by using JavaScript, you can read it. The way you read it is very simple. You declare a variable constant, maybe title or anything like this. And this is your whole HTML document. So you can tell, hey, document, you need to get element by ID. That means I would be giving you an ID and you need to get the element, that's the element or the tag in the website. And it will ask inside the parentheses. That means you're calling this actually function and it will be asking for element ID. You see, this is asking for the element ID. And you already remember that we typed like a my title as the ID. So here you can do like since this is a string, you'll be put inside the code my title. And that's pretty much got. After that, you just do like console log. You can console log the whole title and then see what does it happen. So we save this guy. We go to the browser and we see the console. And you'll see this H2 is already console logged here. You see, H2 is console log. And this, whenever you hover over it, it goes there. That means you are getting the whole tag. If you want to get the text inside the tag, you can do that. It's kind of like title.inner text. That means what's inside is inside text. Now, if you save it, you go there. Now you get the text here, right? This is so much fun. You get the exact text. Not only that, you can set the text. You can say like, okay, title.inner text, I got a new value for you. There is a my awesome shopping cart, something like this. So right now, by default, your value is my shopping cart. JavaScript is accessing it. And then JavaScript is not only accessing, but also changing it. You set this guy, it goes there, now already reloaded, and you see my awesome shopping cart. You can also do it a little bit dynamic way. Right now it changes. You don't notice whether you did it or somebody else did it. So you don't want to do it like this way. Rather, you want to do it when I click on it, at that moment I want to change it. That's your desire, right? And you can do that one as well. What you can tell here, say like, hey, if you somebody click on it, then do call some function. So here, say for example, we don't write it here. Rather, we put this inside a function. So how do you do is this kind of like a function. We declare a function, change title or update title, something like this, and we declare a function. And inside this function, we want to do this task. We don't need to the console, but we can leave it there. We take it, we put inside the function. Now, what we are telling? We are telling, hey, whenever somebody calls this function, we change it. So there is like a two different way we can use it. So we save this guy initially my shopping cart. And if you have a function like this update title, you'd be able to access it from here too. So update title, and if you call this, you see the name changes right away. So right now you are manually going there. You need to know which function to call and then call it, which is a lot of work for your user. What if you click on it and then it does what? That's super easy, my friend. All you need to do is to tell here, hey, this title, I want you to do something when somebody clicks on you. That means on click. And then you give the name. Say update title and then 2 parentheses. That's it. And if you wrote the name nicely, this is my shopping cart. And if I click on it, it changes. So this is, again, we'll do this. I click on it, it changes. And you can do like so many other cases, like on mouse in, mouse out, and all this interesting stuff in very, very simple way. We want to do like a one last thing, then we will go somewhere else to do the fun stuff. So if you have like a regular any tag, like an h2 div, maybe span, or maybe h5, doesn't matter. You can access the value by using like this way, inner text, and then also you can set it by using the inner text. That's super easy. If you are using an input tag like this one, like this is the input field, you have a like input field, and you want to change the values or add the values. In that case, you will need to read the values, because this is the value, not inner text. So we will, if you want to do this, for example, here, if you look into it, we want to give it a meaningful name. This is number of iPhone 11 or 12 that you want to buy. This is how many casing you want to buy so that it doesn't break at all. And so this is, for example, the first one, that is like iPhone. And if you want to make sure to find it, just search for like a 128 GB. Come here, Control F, and then 128 GB, you will get it. So this is the text. And in between, close to this is your input text, right? And if you write an ID, you can do it, say like equals to phone count, something like this. Since you have it, phone count, you can code it there, or not only that, you can do here, come here, and then that, okay, on the title, you want to do something. So update change, maybe here, you can get the values. For example, if you title it, you want to get the values, and also you want to do get the value here. So you can do like a constant, say like a phone element, something like this, and document get element by ID, and now you want to get the phone count element. And here, if we try to get, say for example, console log phone element dot inner text, you will not get the value written in there. So if I go there now, if I do F12 and I click on this, you don't see anything here. I console log, I don't see anything, because this is a phone element and this is an input text. But if I do on the title, if I do the title, then I get some text here. So you click on this, you click, you get this. So if it is not an input text box, any other tag, you will get inner text. If it is a input text box where you can type something, in that case, you need to get the value. So here I will type like a title dot value, just only the value, save it. And then now, if you click on it, you will get like an, so this is on the phone element, not the title. Title doesn't have any value. Phone element input text has the values, and title has inner text. This doesn't have it. So this is kind of like, think about the input box has value, and everybody else has like inner text. So we need to get the values on the phone element. So we'll get it in the phone element, save it. Now, if we come here, we click on this, you get the 1. You click every time, you get 1. That means for the input text box, you need to get the values. So that's pretty much initial introduction that we want to get. Now let's start some fun thing. Think about like you are building something like this, and then you want to do some functionalities. What should be the functionalities if you look into this? For example, I have some way to increase or decrease these values, right? So by default, this is an input type of text. If you go to this input type text, where would be, this is 128 GB, that means this is input type text. You can change it to a number input text box. Save this guy. Now, if you hover over, you'll see this increases or this decreases, like this increases, but somewhere it goes to like negative. You cannot sell like -6 iPhone from your website, right? It has to be some 0 or positive. So you can add some condition here. Hey, this would be number type, and its minimum values would be 0. That means it cannot be lower than 0. So now if you do this, if you can increase for sure, you can decrease, but it cannot go beyond 0. So this is good. But once you change it, like you change it, you want to do some work here. You want to do some work here. Not only that, if you click on this button, you want to do some work. You want to increase the values. That means you have some task. So let's start with this plus button. We need to find this plus button. So we know where this guy is 0 right here. And this is default. And if you look into here, this is like a font or some plus, and this is minus. That means this is the minus, this is the plus. Not only that, you can right click and then you can inspect, and you will see this is the element, right? So that's how you can make sure that this is the item, this is the button that you are working on. So this is the button that we are working on, and we can have something here. Say on click, you want to do something, maybe increase phone count or increase phone, something like this, increase phone count, something like this. So since you are using a function on click, you need to declare a function. You don't have any function right now. If you don't declare it, it will yell at you that, hey, you need something. So to declare a function, increase phone count, and inside the phone count, what is the task? Break down it. Your task is, if you click on this guy, that means you're clicking right now. If you just console log here to make sure somebody is clicking on your plus button. So here you go to the console and you click this minus, nothing happens. But if you click on the plus, you see somebody is clicking. That means if it clicks, that function is called, because that function inside it is there. But what is your task? Your task is actually two things. First, this value could be 1, 2, doesn't matter. Whatever is the values, if it is 6, you will increase by 1. That is, the new value becomes 7. That means you need to update the value of this guy. So we know how to get the current value. That's super easy. We did this before. Constant we do. For example, this is a phone element or phone count element, whatever you name, phone count element, and that would be document get element by ID, and you know that guy and that guy should have an ID. If it doesn't have an ID, don't worry, because we are clicking on this. We want to access this guy, not this one. We want to click on this guy and we want to access the phone count. So we have an ID and we come back here, and then here we want to get here is like a phone count. So this would be phone. Don't do any spelling mistake here in the phone count. Not only that, now you can get the values. The phone value is very simple. That would be like a constant phone count. What's the count is phone count element dot value, because this is an input tag. That's it. So you get the phone count values, and then what would be your new values? New phone count would be whatever the phone count before. That means like a phone count, and you want to increase by 1. So this is the way you will get the new values. Let's do some console log of this, like a new phone count, and then see how does it goes. So we come here, we close this guy. This is value 1. So we plus, it says like 11, but he didn't want to 11. It should be like 2. If you increase again, it is keeping 11, 11, 11. So if you reload it, initially your value is like 1. And if you click on this, it becomes 11. It doesn't make sense. It should be increased by 1. Here you see, I just added the 1, why it becomes 11. And the reason is happening is that if you read something from here, by default, it comes as a text. And if the value is as a text, you need to convert it. So for example, if I value as a text, like a string like this in JavaScript, and if you plus 1, it makes it 11. So 1 plus 1 is 11 in JavaScript if either one is a string. So what do you have to do? You need to convert the first one as a number. There is like multiple way you can do it. One way you can do like a parse int. That means you want to parsing it as an integer. In that case, and the first one become number 1, and then you add 1 plus 1 equals to 2. So if you have like a parse integer, parse int is short from integer, and then have a number like this, it will convert it to the actual number. So this is a string that contains the number, and if you do add, it will mess up a little bit. So what we'll do, we will put like phone count has the current number of the input. So we'll do like a parse int, and then inside it, we'll put this. Now, if you do this way, in that case, we come here. Now we increase, you see like 2. If you click 2. So we have the last thing remaining. We get the value from here, we increase by 1, and the last thing is to show it that this value is changed. And the showing it is very simple. We already have the phone count element. What we can do, we can say like, hey, phone count element, you have a new value. What is your new value? Is a new phone count. That's pretty much it. So you save this guy. Now you come here, you increase. Now you see the value is increased. If you do this, it gets increase. So this is the way you're pretty much able to increase the values, which is so much fun. Now, if you can increase the values, decreasing is super simple. Instead of adding the values, you will just remove the values. That's it. So what we do, we select this guy, we copy, and then we copy it in the next line. And that's the reason we'll do Alt-Shift down arrow. Alt-Shift down arrow, it goes, and this would be decrease. So without increase, it would be decrease. So decrease phone count, and all we need to do is to come here, and then where we have like a on button click, it was increase count. This is our negative button. This is like FM minus. This is the minus icon, and all we need to do here is to tell, hey, on click, this could be the decrease phone count, and put some bracket. And you need to do one last thing, because inside the decrease, we didn't actually decreasing the values. Rather, we are adding the values. And if we keep this way, even if we decrease, it will increase, which is not supposed to do. So what we need to do, we'll do minus, right? That means like if you get the values for the decrease, and then every time you click on it, we will reduce the value. We save this guy, we come back here, and then now you do decrease, it goes decrease way. If you increase this way, if you decrease, it goes decrease this way. So this is the way you are able to change the input text, but this value doesn't change at all. So we need to know that if you reload it, you know that one single item is like 12.19. If you increase, it doesn't increase. That means like the customer will get like a 2 phone with the price of same, buy one get one free. If he clicks again, now buy one get 2 free, buy one get like 9 free, and buy one get like a 99 free. And that could be possible if you don't update the price here. And updating is very, very simple. You can do something here inside the input text box, and you can do like previously we did on click. Now we can do for the input text called something called on change. If this value change, you want to do something. Maybe you want to update phone price, and you declare another function here, and come back here, and we declare something here, function update phone price. And if you update the phone price, you can actually send the number of items there, or number of phone there, that you can definitely do, or even you can read the current phone count by using something like this. Either one is all right. So if you click on this, you go, and then you can read this guy, and then if you read this guy, then you can do some math, and you can set the values there. So let's do the same way we did. So we have this phone count. If you change it right now, we do console log, I am going to update the price. And this is a good habit in the beginners, that if you add a function and bind it to a element, make sure this is working. Otherwise, you might have other troubles, and then you keep doing a lot of stuff and you don't know this two is not connected. So for example, here, if I click on this, I don't see anything changes here, because if I remove it, increase, it changes, but it doesn't do anything. If I change here to it goes there. If I press enter, if I do this, it goes. But if I click on this, it doesn't do anything. So at least we know that if it changes, if we manually change something here, we see and something here. So for example here, but if we do this, it doesn't call the functions. That means we need to handle it a little bit differently, but at least we can use this. So if we change it manually, come here and type 400 and then press enter or click outside, you'll be able to call these functions. So how we can make sure that this is called when you increase or decrease? We already know that if you click on this guy, it calls this function because we have this increased price. And for that reason, what we can do, we can actually call this function from here. So you know how to call this function not only by tying with the element, you already knew that update phone price. If you call from here, now even if you click on the plus sign, it will do its work. And after that, it will tell, hey, I did this part, now update phone price, you need to do some work. And if I do this way, I click on this. So right now, I don't have anything here. I click on this, you see, this is going to update. So that means you are calling, not only increasing, after that you are calling another function to do some work. And the negative doesn't do anything right now. So what we need to do, we need to call this from negative decrease function as well. That means update phone price, and that's pretty much. So now it doesn't matter right now. It doesn't matter. Your customer can change value like this or this or here. Every time you have to increase the values, it gets called and you go somewhere. So that's easy part. And you already getting the phone count. That means you can calculate the phone price easily. And that would be constant phone price. And that would be whatever is your phone count. Phone count by default, phone count is coming as an string, if you remember before. So we will parse it. We'll say like a parse integer, and we'll parse the phone count inside this bracket and then multiply by unit price. So currently our unit price is 1219. So we'll multiply it by 1219. So now you can console log and see like a phone price. So if you save this guy, come here, and then if you increase to, you see the quantity. So we are doing the phone count, or we should do like phone price. So we do the phone price. So now if you increase it, you see like 1238. If you increase again, the price is increasing. Now you just need to set it here. If you reduce, it reduces nicely. If it becomes 0, it becomes 0. If you increase, you increase, right? So that means you can calculate the price of the phone. Now you need to set it here. And setting here is like very simple. You need to get like 1219, where is like 1219 is written in your code, and do that work. So if you control F and then 1219, this is exactly here. Right after your update, phone decrease, increase 1219. And change the text is like super easy. You already did it for the title, like you did for the title, you need an ID, and then you just call it and use it. This on click is needed if you want to change something after clicking on it. So we are not doing it anymore. We can leave it this way. And then here we will add like ID, this equals to phone price. That means this is the phone price ID, and you want to set it here. So, and to do so here, when you have this update phone price, all you need to do, we'll get rid of console log, and we'll call like constant phone price element. Element is equals to document get element by ID, and this is our phone price. And since this is an HTML H5, not an input, that means we need to read the inner text. And you can set like console log by default is that would be phone price dot inner text. And then let's see whether we can get the inner text. So here, if I get rid of all these things, I click, I don't get the inner text. That means we did something not right. So what is that? This is our ID. This is phone price H5 phone price, which is okay. Let's see, we get this, and then here inner text phone price. Oh, phone price element, not phone price, because this phone price element is the getting the element, not the phone price. So we'll do phone price element, save this. That's why you need to check before you go far. So right now, if I click on this plus, I get this text 1219. If I do minus, I get this text. Since I get this text, I can set it. Setting is like super easy. All you have to do is to tell phone element, phone price element dot inner text, and that would be the value would be phone price. What is the phone price? Is you are setting the phone price would be the value. That's what you calculated here, this line. So in this line number 99, you calculate the price. Now you are setting it. That's pretty much. So and I am kind of like getting rid of this. Save this guy. Now it's be like exciting part. So if I increase the phone, you see like 1234. If you add 1360, it's increasing. Not only that, if you decrease, it decreases. So that's the fun part, is like you see the price is updating. And if you want a dollar sign in front of it, you can easily do it here. Like if dollar is like inside the string dollar and then plus with it. That means you are adding a dollar sign in front of it. So now if I increase, you see 12, 34, 16. If you want to do some more fun stuff, you can do like in comma separations. If it's thousands or lakhs, those kind of things. But at least you got the idea that you can change the values. And not only that, you can say like, I want the one phone or something like this, or I want like a 7 phone. You can do this way, or you can do like an increase. Like it doesn't matter how you increase or decrease, your value is calculated. At least you are getting the exact amount when needed. And we did all for this phone. Casing is like exactly the same thing, just for different values. So we want to do it exactly pretty much same way, but we need to make sure we do like same thing nicely. So here we have like so many functions, right? Now, so almost we wrote like these 1, 2, 3 functions. And one is for increasing the phone count, another is decreasing the phone count, and third one is update phone price. We want to do this for like phone casing. And if you use like a modern framework like React or something, you don't need to duplicate it. But since we are just learning JavaScript, we'll just duplicate it so that at least it works. Or also you can use working and using the same number of functions, but it will need to pass some parameter. Hey, this is for the phone, so use the phone price. This is the phone count. So you can do like some crazy way you can work here as well. That's possible too. But since we are junior, we are not complicating it. We are just kind of like duplicating it. So duplicating is easier as a beginners than complicating. And since we want to copy all these 3, we'll do Alt Shift down arrow. And this was like an increased phone count. So now it would be case count. That means you're adding the casing, number of casing you want to increase. And this would be like update phone price. Instead of update phone price, it would be update case price. And this is to be decreasing case count. This would be case count. And then you'd be calling like update case price. And then this would be update case price. But if you look inside, you need to change a little bit. This is your increased case count, but inside it is reading from the phone count. Then it will not work. It has to read from the case count. So you need some ID for the casing count, that how many casing is there, and then do some work. You should potentially change the variable name, but we are just leaving there for now. But ideally, you should like a case count element, case count values, and all those stuff. Here also, you need to read from the case count, because this is dealing with the case. If you're decreasing these values, it should be from the case count. And then you do other stuff, it goes there. For the updating as well, you need to do the case count. You need to read how many casing count is there, and then change the price. Casing price is different. You cannot charge like $12.19 for casing. This casing is like $59. So you change the price like this, 59. And then when you're updating the price, it would be your case price. So that means you need to put all these IDs and this event handler in the right place like you have. And if you have done correctly, then it will work. Otherwise, it will give you some error, and don't worry, we'll be able to fix it. So here you see like your first button has like a decrease phone count. So we need a decrease case count for the case. You have the update phone price. This would be the similar values for the case, similar values for this, and this has an ID. You need this ID. Also here is like you're showing the values, which is like a phone price. You need same thing for your casing. That's it. So the first thing is like here, maybe we'll do ID equals to case price. That means you put it there, case price. Here, this would be ID. This would be ID. This would be case count. This is the input tag where you are seeing like how many casing are there. And also we change it to a number type. And then we have like a minimum values equals to 0, something like this. And then last 2 things we need here is to add those functions. If you on-click on this, this is the first one, which is like a minus button. And that means if you click on this, we want to decrease case count, something like this. decrease case count. And if you even if you want to make sure this function exists, you can press F12 and it will come to right away the function. Sometimes if we do like the typo or type something wrong, you should be able to get there. And here is this one would be on change. So on change, these values you want to update case price. That means you want to update the price of the casing. And even if you hover over it, if it exists, it goes to like this function way. And same thing here for on click. For this plus button, you want to increase case count. That means how many casing this person want. Something like this. And if we have done correctly everything, let's see how far it goes. So here, if I increase these values, wow, I see this increase too. And not only this value changes, I do again, it increases. That means this increasing is working. And if I decrease, not only that, this guy is working as well. So with some little bit modification, we get our plus button working, we got our minus button working, not only for the phone, but also the casing. But we need to do a little extra work, my dear friend, here. And if we do this, then we would be kind of like good for the day. So we're getting close to what we wanted to do. We wanted to calculate the total cost and then add the tax, because government uncle would be waiting there to get some money from your business. Then we'll be pretty much done for the day. So to calculate this is like very simple. When you want to do it, every time you update this price, that means you click on this guy, you need to click this, calculate this total. It cannot be 1278. And if you click on this guy, either one, if you click this, that means if you click this or this, it eventually update this price. That means update phone price has some function. And similarly, update case price is something. So you need to call some function to update the total price. And that would be happen when you change, either update the phone price or either you update the case price. And that will be almost similar pattern. So we will add another function here. And that will be function update total price, something like this. Now think about the total price. You can do like multiple different ways. In everything in a programming language, you can do multiple different ways. But here, in our case, we'll do it a simple way. Think about what will be the total price. Make sure we are calling it when it's it's working the right way we want. Console log updating total price. Just wait few minutes, something like this. So here I tell you, like, when you do this total price, because if you change something, even if you increase or decrease, you can obviously call it from here, call it from increase, decrease, and everywhere. But eventually you are calling this guy anyway. So decrease or increase, it calls the update case price anyway. So from here, if you're at one place, if you call the increase, it will call update case price, and update case price is call it. That means eventually it would be called anyway. So we'll call update total price from here. And the same thing is true is for when you are updating the phone price, because even if you increase or decrease, this function will be getting called. And from this function, now we will call update total price. That's it. So now if you go here and you come back here, it doesn't matter if you this, you get this one. If you do this, you get that guy. If you click on this, you see like there is one extra loaded in here. If you do this, one extra would be loaded in here. That means from everywhere, doesn't matter if this guy is called. So since this guy is called, then we are very happy. Now we need to do the same exercise. Same exercise is to know that how many phone you have, know how many casing you have, multiply the total phone number with the phone price and the total case number with the case amount. We sum all this together. We are good to go to get the total price. And we do in a little bit slower way. The first one is to like constant, and we can actually get it like right away, or you can do it in multiple lines. So for example, phone count, that would be like a document, then get element by ID, and then we have this phone count. And then you can declare another variable and then dot value in the next line, or you can just directly write value here. That's it. So this way you are getting since we are not setting the values anymore here, that's why we can just right away get it. If we want to set it or update it, then we might need to break it down like we did before here. Get in like a phone count element and then get the values and then read it and then set it. Here, when you are just updating total, we're just reading it. We are not changing it. We're just reading whatever the user changed and do some work. That's why we can right away use the dot value for the phone count. And if we do this, we can do Alt+Shift down arrow to create another one, and this would be our case count. So this would be our case count, and here we will name it as a case count. So since we got these two, usually these values are a string, so we can convert to a number easily. And so for example, we can do it like all in one line actually. Total price is equals to, first we will like parse integer phone count, and then we will multiply it by 1219. And that's how we get the total price of the phone. Similar way, we will convert the case count to an integer and then eventually multiplied by 59, the unit price of sketching. So this line is your simple math. If you don't have the percentage, think about phone count 1219, case count 59, and then you put together, that's your total price. That's it. And if you do, you can do like console log here, console log total price, save this guy. Now you come here, here is like 59, 1219, total is 1278. That's easy. If you increase it, you see like 1337, that means it increased. If you increase it, it's again 1396. If you increase this guy, this should be increased by 1200. So it becomes 2615. If you do this, it increase another 1200 because each unit price is like 1219. So we are able to calculate the total price. We just need to set it here. So we just need to find out either subtotal or this text, wherever it is. So we search for like a subtotal. This is the text, and corresponding, this is the H5, and this is the 1278. This is the tax, and this is your grand total. So here we want to change it here. So we can do like ID equals to total price. And if you save it, so this is an H5. That means to set it, would be setting the inner text. And you can do it very easily here. Like since we are setting it, we'll do it like the conventional way. We do it here. That would be constant. This would be total price element, and that would be document get element by ID, and then this would be like a total price. And then we can say like a total price element dot inner text. That means we are setting the inner text is equals to total price. Total price. We are setting the total price. That's pretty much it. We go there. Now we increase this guy. Let's stop this guy, and you see this value is increased. And if you increase, this increase. This is increasing. If you want a dollar sign in front of it, you can easily do it here. So like as usual, we did before dollar plus, something like this. Super easy. And then you set this guy, it comes here, you increase, this is total with dollar, this is total with dollar, increases. And since we can set we get the total price, we can easily get the text. And we need to do little funky thing, but we will fix it a little later. So think about like a country-wise, the tax varies. In some countries, for simplicity, think the tax is like 10%. 10% is like you multiplied by 0.1, because for calculating the 10%, and this would be your divide by 100 multiplied by 10, which is kind of like multiplied by 0.1. Or even if you want, you can do that. Constant tax, and this would be tax amount or something like this, tax amount. And that would be your total price, whatever your total price multiplied by, or you can say like, okay, I want to divide by 100 and multiplied by 10. You can do that if you want. And if you have the tax, you can set the tax. And if you go all the way up there, you already know where you are setting the total price. This is your tax amount. So ID, tax amount, and while we are here, we will create another ID for the last one. This is our grand total. That is the ultimate total or something like this, so that we can update this one as well. So we have like a tax amount, and we can do the set it like exactly pretty much same way. So we will copy these two lines, Alt+Shift down, and this would be our tax amount. So this is our tax amount. And here we'll say like, okay, tax element or something like this, tax element. And we want to setting it as a like a tax element dot inner text. This would be your tax amount, something like this. So we just copied the same thing. And now we are getting the tax amount, and then we are setting the inner text of the tax amount. That's pretty much it. It's super easy. Like if you increase this, now you see you have like a 1300 and tax is like a 10% of it. If you increase, this is a little bit funky thing. We can easily fix it because this is causing some problem. And to fix it, all we need to do, you parenthesis, the whole thing, and then dot to fixed. And you can fix to like a 2 decimal precision, something like this. So now if you add this, it goes there. If the next one, it doesn't go crazy. It has always 2 decimal precision. It doesn't go crazy like that. But anyway, you got the total amount, you get this tax amount. Now you can easily calculate the grand total, because grand total would be sum of this guy and this guy. That's super easy. So here you can do here this constant grand total is equals to your total price plus tax amount. That's it. And if you have this is grand total. And since you have the grand total, you can easily set it there. We already created the ID grand total. So I will just alter shift down arrow to create another one is like a grand total, something like this. And here this would be our grand total element. And then here instead of this, you will take a grand total element. And the value you'd be setting is like grand total. That's it. So what we did, we very quickly did, but very simple things. The grand total element, you do this, and then grand total elements, you just do this way. That's it. So if you save this guy, now go to your website. It's pretty much, if you increase, not only it increases these values, but this one is a little bit funky because when we are adding these values, we didn't parse that integer. But we will need to do is like a total price. When we're sitting here, we are doing this total price and tax amount, this tax amount, and either one is getting a string value. So we can easily fix it. So here we can do console log this to and then see which one is a string. So you'll see the difference as well. Console.log, this would be total price and then tax amount. Tax amount has to be a number anyway because you're calculating the before. So we do press F12 and we see, and we increase the values, and you see this one is actually, if you do 2 fixed, it got into a text. But don't worry, we can parse it as a like integer, or if you want to keep the precision, we can make it called like first plot. So what we will do is say like a parse, another one is like a float. And parsing float is nothing but is to keep the decimal. That's it. If you do the parse integer, it will convert it to an integer, and integer number doesn't have any fraction. Like 2.5 is not an integer, 3 is an integer, 4 is an integer, 169 is an integer, something like this. So if you do this way right now, and we go this, and now we see whether it goes right way. 1278, if I add 1, now it makes sense. Like 137 is a total price, 10% tax, and becomes 1470. And if we increase this guy as well, it's like 2500. This is my tax, and these two visually sums up to like 2811. So we are pretty much done with it. And if you want to see this code, all you need to do is to put somewhere, and then as usual, if you want to deploy, you can deploy like we did before. So I will create a one, create a new repository as usual, so that you can see it. And then we want to create this name. This could be like a shopping cart. This is number 3, something like this. We'll keep it as a, so look for like a shopping cart 3 after going to github.com/programminghero1, and then we create this repository. And once this repository is created, we need to go there. So we right click, and then we will see, or even we can go here, like here, right click on this, and it's called like a reveal, where is reveal in file explorer. So these are the files that we were working. So we can easily put it in our website here. and then we just drag all this dude, put it here. And if we put it, this got all uploaded, which is good. And I just commit it, and it will take like few seconds for this code to be available. So all you have to do is to go to this URL. Actually, if you can see it here, I will put it here. Okay, I don't mess up this guy. And this is the year. And then you can comment something like this. So github.com/programminghero1/shopping cart 3, or even you go to like github.com/ you are typing for programming hero 1, then you'll be seeing like a shopping cart 3. And this pretty much all we wanted to show. And if you want to see it's like a live functional working site, you can always do that by going to here and then to archives GitHub pages, and you want to create the main branch as usual. And if you save this guy, it will create a link for you, which will take like few seconds or a minute for it to working. And if we go there, or maybe we'll copy this guy, and do there this. And if you do like a reload or maybe clear the cache, if you are impatient, then it might work after a few try. That we did work before. So if you take a quick summary while we will come back here and refresh this guy, the quick summary is that we definitely explored JavaScript, and where we explored definitely how you declare a variable. Most of the time, if you don't change the values, we are declaring it and using it. You declare with a constant. You can definitely access any element in your HTML file by using get element by ID. Something like this, and then provide the ID. Once you get the ID, if it is an input text field, you can access the value, whatever the value written inside it. And then you not only can access the values, you can set the value and then update it right away. If it is a non-input tag, that means it could be a paragraph, H5, H3, H1, paragraph, span, whatever it is, you can get the inner text. Not only you can get the inner text, you can set the inner text as well. And also we explored a lot about the functions. We had like increase function, decrease function that we set here. This is our increase function and decrease function, on change function if somebody changes those values. So one last time we want to go there, and then let's see whether this is working for us or not. This 404, if it is not working, we'll do one last thing. Index.html. Now it came back. Okay. And since we got up to this point, now if it is working correctly, you see this is the live site. This is not like somebody's computer. That's the live site, and you can see this shopping cart is working. If you want to decrease, you can decrease. But if you can decrease -0 until this way. If you don't want this decrease to go not more down, you can easily fix it here. Right, the way you will fix it, like this is the decrease. Where is this, like a decrease this value? This is the decrease value, decrease phone count. All you need to do, put these two in condition, or these three is in condition, doesn't matter. So we already know the condition, like if like a phone count is to like this. Say for example, if you decrease these values, maybe we'll do like this way. If your new phone count less than 0, that means -1 or something, in that case you don't do it, right? And if it is, you will do it if it is greater than 0, greater than or equals to 0, that means it could be either 0 or 1, 2, 3, then you do it. And if you do it in your local things, say for example here, if we do this one, so this it doesn't go anymore. But if you go up, and if you go down, it doesn't go any down here. And obviously you cannot you do here, and you cannot go negative this way. So that's pretty much all that I wanted to share with you. I highly encourage you to start working on this, get this code. And then what you'll need to do is to get rid of all this script tag I have written, get rid of those, and then start working, start typing. And if you keep practice, not only once, but also twice yourself, and then also search for like a topic like update a function or JavaScript core concept, like a JavaScript function, JavaScript condition, JavaScript variable, and all this stuff, and spend like couple hours so that you get comfortable with this stuff. Yeah, you will not be comfortable just by watching this video. You need to make some mistakes. You need to try it. You need to explore. You might get stuck, and then reach out for helps in internet, or even if you get like messed up all these things, you close this and start over. So that's pretty much all.